Alright, hey guys, it's me again, and today we're going to talk about the Cedo or Cedo. It's Lavos' signature shotgun that you get from the event. There's currently no other way to obtain this weapon, but let me just say that this weapon is extremely good. Alright, it is a hybrid weapon, but not in the traditional sense. But a traditional hybrid build still does fit on this weapon. It's a shotgun with quite a tight spread and quite a lot of range actually, and the alt fire shoots a glaive that bounces around and procs like the 4 base elements on top of blast. So this is the best status spreader in the entire game, and it bounces for quite a while if there's like a lot of enemies nearby. But here's the thing that a lot of people miss with this weapon. So you can actually recall the glaive. So if you press the alt fire and then press it again, it comes right back. As you can see. Normally, if I just let it go, it just bounces around and it comes back whenever it feels like. But just recall it by pressing the alt fire button again. Now, the only real downside to this weapon is that it's a shotgun. And because it's a shotgun, there's no blast radius mod for shotguns, which this would love. This weapon would absolutely eat up that mod. But we don't have like primed Firestorm or primed Fulmination for shotguns at all, or any sort of like equivalent. But that's literally the only downside to this weapon. There's nothing but upsides. So here's the main hybrid build. Again, it is the main hybrid build. I'm running corrosive and hunter munitions, as well as vigilante armaments. And of course, we're running the crit mods because the primary fire is crit based, but the secondary fire is status based, and it procs a lot of status. And for every single status proc we have on the enemy, it increases our damage. So it's like a built-in condition overload. Now, we don't know how much it increases the damage, but I assume it increases by a lot because the base damage on this weapon is very, very low. Lowest in the game for all shotguns. So base of 180, 30 per pellet, and it shoots 6 pellets. So that's not a lot of base damage. I'm running 100 munitions on here, even though probably not amazing. But I'm running on here because it is another status proc, even though the glaive does do slash damage, but it doesn't proc it that often, I've noticed. So that's why this is here. Now, as far as elements go, you get similar performance with Viral, just not as good. But another thing to note, I'm going to spawn this heavy gunner in here. Let me actually pause the AI on this one. Is that unlike glaives, this has tracking. So that's something you want to keep in mind. And you can see it is proccing a lot of elements. But unlike glaives that sort of, when they bounce, they just bounce all over the place and bounce randomly, this has tracking. But I don't think it has tracking after the first hit. But it does lock on to enemies there, as you can see. And of course, you can recall it by pressing the alt fire button again. So, again, a lot of upsides. And the damage is pretty nice. Right? I'm going to show you without procs. So without procs, again, the base damage is quite low. But that's not horrible. That's not the end of the world. Right? For something that has like the lowest base damage of all the shotguns in the game. And then when we add procs, add our alt fire in there to give us more procs, it does a lot of damage. Let's spawn in a bunch of heavy gunners just so I can show you guys how much status this procs and exactly why this is the best status spreader in the game. That glaive goes everywhere. Almost a 2-shot there, but those status procs give us a lot of damage. So, like I was saying in the, I think, previous video, actually I stated this in my community post, is that if Lavos isn't the condition overload king, this weapon certainly is. However, I am almost tempted to run status duration instead of vigilante armaments on this thing, because status duration is actually quite needed if you want to use this as a status spreader. And shotguns have the worst status duration mods. But that's just if you want to use this thing as an actual weapon that you actually kill things with. But if you want to use this as a status spreader, this is the build I'd recommend. I'm not running damage. I'm just running multi-shot, 2 status duration mods, my elements of choice, and in this case I'm running radiation viral, and as well as a status chance mod. You could run the other multi-shot mod, but I think the status chance here is better. And I also have projectile flight speed, just to increase the speed of the glaive so it bounces faster, which is quite nice. And we have quite a hefty amount of status compared to the 110 of our other build. Again, the base damage is quite low, but if you're using this as a status spreader, it's quite good because it procs all the 4 base elements. It has a little bit of slash on the glaive, but it doesn't proc that often. It has puncture on the main fire, right? And you compare that with something like the Kuva Nucor. I'm running a similar build, but I have magnetic gas and a radiation bonus on this thing. Though I think an impact bonus actually might be a little bit better because the weapon itself doesn't have impact, but surely your melee weapon does. And in my case, I'm running the Talos Boltus, which is my favorite melee weapon, running a hybrid build with corrosive and heat because this thing has no slash at all, or not good slash anyways. It's mostly puncture. Now, as a status spreader weapon, I'm going to show you against the Crypto Heavy Gunners again. What I can do with the Cedo is suck them all up with the Talos Boltus, hit them with the Glaive, hit them with the Kuva Nucor with punch through on it, and then I tear them to pieces with melee. That slam attack did a lot, actually. Actually, let's see that again. Oh, I missed one. I'll just tear that person to pieces with my melee there. But let's show you that again. I'm going to try the slam attack, because that's a lot of damage you get. But suck them all up, hit them with the Glaive, hit them with the Nucor, and then it's actually killing people with the slam attack. Who would have thought? Interesting. Because that's how much damage Condition Overload adds. So it's great as a status spreader, and it's great as a standalone weapon. But even with just the status spreader build, it actually does pretty good damage despite not having damage mod in. For something that doesn't have a damage mod in it, that's quite good. As you can see. That's quite a lot of damage. We don't have like consistent slash procs or anything like that. Now when Lavos holds this gun, he gives it ammo mutation, but you don't need ammo mutation for this gun. It's quite ammo efficient because the Glaive itself uses no ammo, which is brilliant. And the Glaive is so good on this weapon. So it's really good. It's really going to help you or help with people that are running like Condition Overload builds or just doing endurance. But yeah, this with like an Impact Kuva Nucor, or if you don't have a Kuva Nucor or don't want to fight Kuva Liches, something like the Catabalist, right? Because that does quite a lot of damage. This would be amazing. So after playing around with this weapon, I'm quite excited for Lavos. I'm very curious of what I can do and how much power I can crank out, though he does have cooldowns. But yeah, definitely get this weapon. It is a must-have for sure because it is the best status spreader. However, currently it's event exclusive. So get on that event, though it will take you like, what, 4 hours to get each part. That is if you don't get any parts during any of your runs. And I've had quite bad luck. But yeah, anyway guys, that's all for me. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.